What's up, boys? Tricks Ridiculous back with another video, and in this one I've got one weird trick that'll make your Hulk unbelievable. Crystal Dynamics hates this. Now let me tell you, this is absolutely fire. It's not really anything like a full build for Hulk, but it's really just something you can slot into any Hulk build. So I'll show you how I'm playing it. I'll leave you with some gameplay at the end of the video. But it's really something that you can easily farm, slot into your Hulk build, and it's going to bring it to the next level. Before we get into it, be sure to like and subscribe. It really does help the channel out, and I greatly appreciate it. Links to my Discord and Twitch are in the description as well. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So my veteran players, if you're a veteran Hulk player, or you've played some Hulk in the past, you may know that back in the day there used to be a way for Hulk to do automatic battery effect with his power attacks. They had since nerfed it. So you used to be able to do a power attack holding the rage button, and if you had different elements on your melee piece and your ranged piece for a small debris attack, it would actually apply both of the elements and you'd be doing battery effect right away. They had fixed that when they nerfed Hulk's thunderclap. That was also something they fixed. However, it's back. It is back as long as you're using Sonic. Now, Sonic has already proven itself as one of the premier elements in this game. It's absolutely fire. I'm playing a lot of my builds Sonic now. It's really, really, really good, and I think depending on how, the raid ends up being, if there's a lot of, hordes of enemies and things like that, I think it'll work out really nice there as well. But, like I said, this is something that it's not really a build defining piece. You can build completely around this if you'd like, which is kind of what I'm going to show you. But you can totally just slot this in if you play a Valor Hulk, like a kind of a traditional thunderclap Hulk, or maybe you play a tank Hulk like I'm kind of going to show here, or even like a melee might based Hulk, or some combination thereof. Any way you play Hulk, you can kind of just slot this in with the stats that you already use, and it's gonna be better than not having it. So that's really it. So it's pretty much exactly like you have seen in, or maybe used in the past, but if you're a newer player, you might not know this. So on your ranged piece, you'll see here I have ranged scream, which is small debris attacks deal sonic damage. This is what you need to have, okay? So the remaining perks don't really matter. Unfortunately, I don't think you can get this to roll with might, but you may be able to get it to roll with valor. So it's possible to still keep like a high valor with this if you'd like. But you'll see here, mind, precision, intensity, proficiency, not perfect, not the most ideal piece, and targeted protection, expert protection, none of those actually matter. We're not going to be doing ranged attacks. The only thing we care about with this piece is ranged scream. That way we have small debris attacks deal sonic, okay? The other thing you're going to need is on your melee piece. Now this is where you can get a little customized with it. I really like the piece I have here. But the important part is the middle perk, right? You're going to want heavy power attacks deal some type of element that's not on the cold side. So something that pairs with Sonic. I like Plasma. You can use Cosmic, you can use Pim, you can use Vibranium. Personally, to me, Plasma and Sonic work really well together because Plasma actually spreads around and does damage over time. So if you've got enemies Sonic'd up, and then you basically apply both of these elements, they're going to be Sonic'd up. They're going to be, giving you recharges, giving your team recharges to heroic and intrinsic. But then also they're going to be taking that tick damage over time and spreading the element. Don't forget that Plasma actually spreads its element to surrounding enemies. So if you've got a chunk or a big horde of enemies, as you'll see in the gameplay, they'll spread this element all over the place and they'll all be taking so much damage they're not even going to know what hit them. So this is honestly truly more of like a damage over time build than anything I think I've seen in the game so far. So now here's the thing. The rest of the perks here is kind of dealer's choice. I really like this piece that I'm using here. It's got Valor, Might, Intensity, which is really nice. You do want a little bit of intensity with this build. I'll show you in the stats here. I wouldn't go more than like 100 intensity, but you'd want to be right around there. That way you're just absolutely definitely filling up those status bars pretty much immediately. You'll see in the gameplay, once you hit someone with like 1 or 2 power attacks, they're completely filled up on both elements, okay? Now, the rest of this, I mean, you can get away with just that. I tried to get something a little better here. So you'll see what I have here is Faultless Inspiration. Now you can get this however you want. I recommend Faultless regardless, because Faultless, especially with your power attacks here, you're going to be critting. You're going to get this to proc quite a bit. So I like to have Willpower Boost just because this is a tanky build. So you'll see I'm using 2 resolve ISOs. It's not like a massively tanky. It's not like one of those, 400 resolve builds, but it's tanky enough that you're going to be in rage. You're going to be armored. You're going to be in Bone Shaker with 200 resolve. You're not going to go down very easily. And with the Faultless Inspiration, you're essentially going to have life steal, if you will, pretty much all the time, right? And then Rage Breaker, increased damage from rage attacks. That's just nice to have. We're going to be in rage all the time. So the way this works, you have to be holding the rage button, all right? It's very important. Now, if you're down in the comments asking, how I can't get it to work, it's not working for me, you have to be holding R. So it's either R2 or right trigger if you're on Xbox. You have to be actually holding it. You can't be overcharged. You can't be anything else. If you're holding rage while you're activating your heavy power attacks, you'll do both elements, okay? So other than that, I mean, like I said, the rest of the gear is kind of dealer's choice. I use a reactive buff. That's how I get my damage buff. And then over here, I use this piece. It's not great, but I use it for the Bone Shaker's Blessing for the increased crit chance while Bone Shaker is active. It's nice to just have that crit. But you could also use something like the exotic Planet Cracker Dendrites. This is a very good one as well, especially if you can get it with a better roll. This is an older version of it, but if you can get, damage to taunted enemies, heroic support, and then, you can get damage buff from killing taunted enemies, or you could get this to roll with a different third perk, maybe even more damage to taunted enemies. That'll work really good too. Or, I mean, really anything that, like I said, that you're already using, or something that just gives you good stats, good perks on the 4 slot. Nothing on this 4-piece here is pivotal to the build. So really whatever you feel is best for your Hulk, but really it's just the melee and the range piece. Combining these two together will make the build sing, right? So if you're going for like truly what I'm going for here, I'm going for double orange ISO. Of course, you can go double yellow, double red, either one or any combination thereof, or even some different ISOs if you've got white ones or cosmic affinity stones that you want to use on that. And then just in this particular instance, just because I'm playing this as a status build, I'm using Tactagon, so increased status damage, right? And increased damage to enemies affected by status. So that's just going to be totally upping our damage over time and our base damage because we're going to be applying double elements. So you'll see in the gameplay, I mean, everyone's going to be sonicked up. We're going to be getting our rage back. So we're never going to run out of rage, right? And then we're going to be doing that tick damage over time. So we have a little bit of might here, but it's really not much. And you'll see we'll absolutely be crushing it with the damage as well. Now, this is far from optimized. You could definitely get something like maybe Brazen Tachyon Surge if you get it from like a Rift mission or Monica, where melee crits give you a Tachyon Surge buff with Cosmic. That could work really good as well, to really up your damage as well. And then coming over to some of these melee, or excuse me, these the armor and the 4-slot piece here, you could get really whatever you want. Jarvis Barrier, defense buff if you want to go ultra tanky. You can get heroic charge burst. You can get, damage during Bone Shaker. You can get crit chance Bone Shaker. And then just whatever stats you want, whether you want to do Valor, Might, Resolve, however you want to do this, just as long as you're pairing the range scream with some type of warm status effect on power attacks. So if you've already got a Hulk build pretty much set the way you want to play your Hulk, I recommend at least just trying to farm a 2-slot piece here that has sonic on small debris and then has the stats that you want, throw that in. Your Hulk can play exactly the same, except you'll have that added benefit. And I think this is going to be really good as like a support build during, let's say, the raid. Again, we don't know what the raid's going to give us, but assuming we're going to be fighting off waves and waves of enemies, this is going to be an excellent support character to have on the team for a couple of reasons. One, he's going to have his taunt up quite a bit through his Bone Shaker. So that could be really nice for stronger enemies. He's going to be applying Sonic, right? Which if any of your teammates get near the Sonic, they're going to get all of their heroics back, especially Sonic stacks, right? So if you have like multiple guys Sonic'd up, a ton of Sonic waves, and then you just get right in the middle of it, it's going to recharge your heroics extremely, extremely quickly. Okay. Same thing with your intrinsic, and that goes for the whole team. So if you have an Iron Man, he can get overcharged very quickly. Anyone, it could work really nice with. And then the other thing is, like I said, it applies both elements pretty much right away. So every single enemy that you hit with this is going to be plasmid and sonicked almost immediately. So what does that mean? That means that all of your teammates are going to be doing battery effect with every hit, regardless of what element they're using, because every single person is going to have a warm and a cold element on them. So using a warm or cold element, respectively, from any other character is going to do battery effect. So I promise you, this Hulk, like I said, that's why I'm playing him specifically as a tank. Because I do think this is going to be more of a team-based build. It's not really focused on his ultimate. It's not really focused on generating orbs. And you'll see in the gameplay, too, a lot of these guys are going to be put up for takedowns, right? So I don't even do too many takedowns in the gameplay just for demonstration purposes. But obviously, if you're playing with a group of 4, everyone's going to be doing takedowns left and right on all of these enemies. All the enemies are going to be stunned, staggered, taking damage over time. You're going to completely keep the battlefield on lock for the rest of the team, and there's going to be, of course, heroic orbs flying all over the place for everybody, along with Sonic refilling everyone's heroics. I promise you this is going to work out really nice. So anyway, that's the build. There's really not much to it. I'm not even really going to go over the skills because you can play it anyway. It's really just having these two together and just making that work as kind of the primary factor there. So I'll leave you guys with some gameplay. Let me know. Definitely try to pick up this Sonic piece if you already have Hulk built, or you're kind of thinking of building a Hulk. This is a really fun way to play him. You'll see in the gameplay, it's super awesome. And like I said, my recommendation is to pair it with Plasma, but it can go with Pym, it can go with Cosmic, it can go with Vibranium as well. Any of them will work. But anyway, that's it for me, guys. Like I said, if you do like this build, leave me a comment down below. Let me know how you're doing with it. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Links to my Twitch and Discord in the description as well. I'll leave you guys with some gameplay, and I will see you in the next one.